everybody, and welcome to Respect DanceFest Weekly with me, Micaiah, and my beautiful co-host, Brandy.
Hello.
Hi, Brandy.
Hi.
Hey, girl. So, the word is out.
I think I got that word. I know the word. Tell us about the word.
The word is that the live soloists at the SF International Hip Hop Dance Fest have finally been announced.
We're getting closer, so we get more tidbits every week. So this is an exciting one because they are going to be live.
I hope they're live. Yeah, so we have 4 Bay Area soloists coming by to where we are broadcasting the SF International Hip Hop Dance Fest. We're actually at the Commonwealth Club. I don't know if anybody knows it. I know that they do a lot of broadcasts there, and they're a real cool place. And so, do you know any of these soloists, Brandy?
Okay, so we have Hector coming, who is a tutter. So I'm excited about all the different styles that we're gonna be seeing. So yes, now It's your turn.
So Hector is inspirational. He's an incredible force. And I've booked him for some gigs and was inspired by just, what a magical dancer he is and how he, allows energy to flow through him and how he's so precise. And I used him last year in my piece for Soul Force. I used him as a featured muse in my piece called Arrest the President. And so I've used him and he's phenomenal. Other than that, we have a young lady. I'm not sure how young she is, but she's pretty darn young. And she is a member of Bliss Dance Company, and her name is Alexis. And this girl, she may look cute. She may look like a little girl, a young woman, but this woman is fierce, is strong, is powerful, dynamic. Woo, I'm so excited. I'm excited.
Getting chills.
Yeah.
And then I think one of the other live performers we're actually going to have on Respect coming up here soon, maybe? Rama?
Yes. Actually, Rama, I think, is next week's guest. And he's a house dancer. So beautiful, so beautiful. I can't wait to talk to him because I love him. He's a sweet person. He has come by, I don't know how many years in a row and just helped out DanceFest, backstage, selling shirts, doing things. Plus he's a dancer. Plus he's just a good person.
I think that usually matches with DanceFest. Good person, feeling the love of DanceFest, the support, yes, the community, right on.
Like our guests today, very good people. Like I think about, I try to teach students to be good people and good dancers and that they're not exclusive. And when I think about our guests today, I think about those people being able to embody both. But we have one more live soloist, and that's iDummy. He's a terper. I've seen him dance and battles, and he's extraordinary. He has ways of moving his body and listening to music that's really magical. So there's our 4 soloists that are going to be coming by, dancing live at our broadcast, as well as everybody knows we're going to have this recorded piece that these other 5 dancers from around the world have created. And when is the Dance Fest again? I keep forgetting.
Yeah. So November 21st, that's a Saturday at noon. We're going to be, like Micaiah said, from Commonwealth Club broadcasting. So you can get your tickets online, sfhiphopdancefest.com. You don't want to miss it. I'm excited because it's just completely new. We've never done it like this before. So yes, do not miss it.
Indeed. Well, I am honored, beyond honored, for our guest today. So let's get it going. Tell us, who do we have?
Okay, so founded in 2005 by Jackie Lopez, aka Miss Funk, okay, and Lee Foad, aka Breezelee. We have Versus Style coming at you. So they are out of LA, and they are dedicated to the authentic representation of dance styles that are significant in their community. We'll get into some of those dance styles, but first we're going to see a clip of Versus Style at the SF International Hip Hop Dance Fest.
Hello and welcome.
There we go. Hey, welcome. So happy to have you two.
Hi.
Thank you for
Hi,
having
everyone.
us.
Hi, Micaiah. Hi, Brandy. It's good to be here on this beautiful day.
Sure.
All right. So we're here and I'm excited. Micaiah, we've been just talking excited about having you two on here. So we're gonna get schooled too on some dance styles. So I'm excited.
I hope so. So, you know, you two and Versatile are some of my favorite people, some of my favorite dancers in the world. And I was just saying earlier that last year you didn't apply to the DanceFest because I think you already had an event that you were doing. And I literally texted you and said, I miss you.
I remember that. I was like, we miss you too. I recall we were doing something actually, and I showed you the text, and he's like, "Oh, like we miss you." I mean, we're so incredibly grateful for the San Francisco Hip Hop Festival and our early stages of our dance company's journey. I think our first time in the festival was 2009.
Either 2009 or 2010.
One of those two.
Mm-hmm.
And
very, very well because it blows everybody away every time you come. So this podcast, it's called Respect. I chose the name because I feel like it's a very, very important topic for dancers in our community. And I, in particular, have a lot of issues and I have had many years of trying to have people respect the dancers that I bring, have the people respect the art that is being created. I want to know, because you guys are doing like big things on big levels and you've done small things and you've had quite a journey. Do you have any situations where you felt like, wow, I really appreciate the respect, or whoa, I'm not getting any, and you had to do or say something in order to get respect?
I think we've had a little bit of both. I'd like to say there's been those challenges of like, are we being seen in this community or in this environment or in this situation? But I think to get respect, I feel like we definitely had to pay our dues, especially in the beginning, and we just had to go out there and take some risks. You know what I mean? And it was fortunate for organizations and people like you, Makai, that gave us that opportunity to just put our stuff out there on the platform and show what we have, in terms of artistry and what we feel and what the integrity that we have with hip hop, dance, and culture. So for me, I feel like whenever we do get accepted to festivals or conferences, I feel like we are getting a little bit of that respect. I think there's some environments where I feel like we could get more, and I'll talk more in the sense of the theater dance world. When we go to those big conferences, I feel like hip hop is still looked at as the baby of the dance world. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's where it gets a little frustrated with us sometimes, But for me, in my personal experience, I feel like it's been a good 50-50, and how can we learn from both sides? You know what I mean? Like, okay, wow, we're getting our respect. Let's keep this relationship going with so-and-so. Okay, wow, we're not being seen here. So how can we adapt? How can we move around? How can we get our respect eventually? And if that's not the communication, then how do we say, no, let's just keep doing what we're doing because we know what we're doing is right, So
you did good. You did good. That's good. No, but yeah, it's going to be a constant battle. You know, hip hop dance is an art form, is something that a lot of presenters or just a lot of folks in general, when it comes into the dance theater world, they don't take as seriously, right? They think this is like some industry dance or just something that's just in commercials and that's it. Little do they know that there's so much texture, many roots and history to hip hop dance as a whole, right? So our goal will always be to show how how beautiful it is as a culture, period, how it represents diversity, all people as one. It's the only dance culture that accepts anybody from anywhere.
Absolutely.
And, you know, the minute you hear that beat drop, we all could relate, you know?
Yeah.
And we're constantly just trying to, you know, spread that knowledge so people get the sense of the unity and the depth and the beauty. Because that's a big thing for me too, to have not just presenters, but even colleagues throughout universities and stuff to respect the dance as its art form, right? Just like ballet has technique and foundation, well, guess what? Locking and popping and house and all these street dance styles do too. So like we said, you said it beautifully, it's a 50-50 battle, but I love it because our goal is to educate that other 50%, right? And to keep spreading that message. And we're going to keep knocking on doors until they get it.
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
know? But that question, I love it, Micaiah, because even from a personal level, wow, as young dancers, I think back in 2007, there was this huge event in Houston called B-Boy Hold Down. It was like a big event in Houston. And we entered our first battle as a duo. And I was like, the first time we got that recognition, like Miss Funk and Breezelee, who are they? But though we got all this love, it didn't mean much until Buddha Stretch pulled us aside and said, y'all are good, like y'all are the bomb, y'all are it. We got all the respect we needed. It changed the whole trajectory of where we were gonna go from there. And I think getting that blessing and that respect from your elders and the founders is essential too to the growth as artists to then give back. So
huge. That's huge for us, yeah.
Truly. Oh, thank you so much for all of that. I'm already so inspired by you. So, I mean, because we could just go on and just talk for an hour about respect, but and I want to know some more stuff.
Oh my gosh, I have chills. I also think I got a little misty-eyed because it's just like when you hear other people who love the culture talk about it, you're just like, you're in church, you're just like, amen, yes. So excited. So I heard, or you know, I get to do a lot of research for preparation for the interview, which is really exciting because I get to watch, you know, dance videos and learn more about all the dance companies that I've seen perform. So I read that you two met collaborating on a project, and then, you know, from there, just it kept going, and ultimately VersaStyle came along. So like, give us some of that history. Tell us the story.
You want to do the brief one?
I'll do the brief
Make
one.
it a
And then she can add on as always.
We're talking 15 years now, right? So it's a long time.
So I was doing a summer dance like workshop at UCLA. A friend of mine pulled me in saying, hey, there's like this theater dance workshop happening. You're a dancer. I'm trying to be an actor. Let's try to have some fun. I was like, all right, cool. Let's do this, man. And at that time, excuse me, she was supposed to be the assistant of the teacher that the man was Kevin Kane, and she heard about me, but she wasn't actually being the assistant that summer. So it was kind of like the name of Lee was ringing in her ear, but she was like, who's this Lee? Who's this Lee? She finally got to see me, and then after she saw me at the culmination, she told me, hey, you know what? Next year in 2004, I'm doing my own senior project and wax mash at UCLA. I would like for you to be a dancer. And I was really like, wow, because I've known of her through high school, because we actually went to the same high school, but she's a couple years older. So I knew of Jackie as like, she's the dance teacher. She's the hip hop girl, right? And so I was like, really? You think you see something? Okay, cool, yeah.
You're amazing.
But I was shy. I didn't know what to expect. 2004, she has me come through, and it kind of just clicked after that. After her wax mash and her senior project, we started practicing. We started training at my mom's studio because my mom had a ballet studio in Sherman Oaks. And she knew house dance, and I knew popping, and I would teach her popping and she would teach me house dance. But at the same time, we just found ourselves 4 hours, 5 hours deep talking, training, exchanging, sharing ideas and passions. And it was just like, hey, I think we're good friends, like, and we just started connecting in many, many ways. And what brought us together was the dance, but then we just realized, wow, we share so many personality, like passion wise, in terms of personality, our goals, and it just started clicking. And yeah,
more from there.
Yeah.
And then
That really connected was Carnival Choreographers Ball.
Yeah.
It's like an event out here with Carrie and Paulette. It's like a huge industry, showcase kind of thing. It's been happening for over 20 years. And they saw the performance at UCLA. Lee refers it to WAC Smash, but it's called WAC because the department is World Arts and Cultures. So they put it together as WAC just to let people know at UCLA. It's the dance part. I would say Carnival Choreographers Ball was like that first gig we thought, like, this is a big deal. And then from there, we just took off, I'm not sure. Hopefully, is the Wi-Fi okay? Okay, great. But yeah, then we took off. But it was, I'm so sorry.
You're good.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. Something. We're good? Okay. Yeah, but I think what was beautiful too, that we were like creating VersaStyle and doing all this work. And at the same time, Lee and I were also professional dancers for Rennie Harris, Pure Movement. So everything we were learning with Rennie in the East Coast, we were applying it here in VersaStyle in the West Coast. And Rennie Harris has taught us so much in that way. He took us on tour. We were able to work and train with him. And I loved it. But at the time, it was also super difficult for me because my son was like, well, my son is 20 now, but at the time he was 4 or 5. I know time flies.
Wow. How did that happen?
It flies. But I recall telling Lee, like, I love working with Rennie, but for me personally, it gets difficult. What could we do here? It's missing in LA. Why do we have to go to Philly and New York? Like, let's create our own movement here. And that's how we came about with VersaStyle Dance Company, so yeah. That's like a short narrative, and it still felt long, right? Yeah. So
I didn't know that. I didn't know that people dance with Rennie.
Yeah. Oh, Lee still dances with Rennie. Right before quarantine, weren't you?
Yeah, because he had just put out his latest production, Functified, in 2018, and it started off at the New Victory Theater in New York, off Broadway, and then we did like a month showing there, and then he took it out on tour. So we've been touring that for the past year and a half. But literally, I got off the plane from Portland in like early March, and it was like, all right, quarantine, and it just shut everything down. But I've been still working with Rennie.
For Functified, he's a featured soloist in Rennie's piece.
Yeah,
for sure. I need to say it. He's too humble sometimes.
You deserve all your accolades. The one thing about VersaStyle, you already said, you had your own different styles, and then you bring in some of the most phenomenal dancers of their own styles. And, if I have had multiple VersaStyle performances at the DanceFest, and there's a lot of stuff. You'll see whacking, you'll see locking, you'll see popping, you'll see b-boy, all of these things. I was wondering if you could just speak a little bit, you don't have to give the history of hip hop or anything, to these styles. What I realized, and kind of really, I should have realized it before, was last year I had someone come up to me at DanceFest and say, it's too bad you don't have that much hip hop in the show anymore. And I said, you realize if it's not hip hop music, but they're still popping, it's still hip hop, right? And then I thought, how dare I expect them to understand what exactly popping is? And then I thought, it's my fault for not really educating people at some point and letting them know, just because they're not a dancer doesn't choose a hip hop song doesn't mean that they're not dancing hip hop styles. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I hear you. Absolutely. I mean, I've been honored. Is it okay if I answer this one? I've been honored with Lee to be, both Lee and I were lecturers in the dance department at UCLA. So we've been building like the hip hop dance curriculum for about, I would say, at least 6 years strong together. First, Rennie Harris was there, and then Rennie passed it on to Sabella and me, and then Sabella left, and then it's me and Lee now in the dance department. But yeah, I think it's very important. I mean, one of our biggest models within Versatile Dance Company is to really educate our youth. And I'll be specific, the youth that we target is the Black and brown. I say it with a lot of pride because there's such a lack of resources, right, in these neighborhoods. And one way and one key factor to empower our youth is to let them know how hip hop is really an evolution of all Black and brown dances. And I think the minute I do that, they just get it in a way where it takes pride. They're like, wait, my ancestors contributed in this way? I didn't know. And it gives them a voice to get on stage or perform and express in ways that are necessary, right? So with that said, I share that because, I'm sure you heard this quote, like, if you don't know where if you don't know where you come from, you don't know where you're going. If you don't know your history, how are you going to represent in that depth and in that form? And unfortunately, due to, our history, a lot of that stuff has been stripped away from us too. So it wasn't really a choice. But now we take much pride to educate our youth about the history of popping, history of locking, history of whacking. I mean, if you love locking and you don't know who Don Campbell Locke is, who just passed away this year, unfortunately, a huge loss in our community in March. It's an issue. Like, it's important to educate folks about the depth and culture of hip hop dance. And you're right, Nakai. I think people, that's where our mission has always been, also to stay away from what they usually see on the industry level or TV level, because that's just one filter, one perspective. And that's what audiences expect. I bet people come to your show thinking they're going to see World of Dance on stage. And dance theater is so different in how we use these street dance forms to express our stories and our art form in our lives. That's real. And that's been like our mission till this day. Yeah. And you're right, we could dance to house to any song, popping to any song. And that's the beauty of street dance, and our job is to educate folks about it.
Yeah, I mean, just to echo exactly the last part she said, it doesn't matter right now in 2020, especially, you can to hip hop. As long as you know the technique, the foundation, where it comes from, you can apply it to any sound that you hear that inspires you artistically, because that is also the magic that you put on the theater dance concert stage. You know what I mean? Or on video at this point in our lives, right? So I think, like, a lot of people are, well, that wasn't a hip hop song. Well, no, but what was the movement? What was the story? Like, we need to look past that. But I think it's just, again, it's one of those times that not so much of the respect idea, but it's like us just keep knocking on that door saying, this is the evolution. This is where it can go. This is the creativity wise of the possibilities of hip hop, dance, and culture.
Yeah.
So. But yeah,
it's our job to like just inspire the youth and remind them. Like, I love that when they come to my hip hop class at UCLA, for instance, we just started UCLA last week, and we get a lot of freshmen. He teaches beginning hip hop, I teach intermediate, and I get like 10 freshmen saying, I want to be an intermediate hip hop because I have 10 years experience in the dance team, and I have 10 years experience in the studio. I'm like, great, show me the bounce, the rock, the roll, the wave, and the skate. Those are the foundations of hip hop. And they look at you like, great. Show me the muscle man into the lock, into the point. Show me the loose leg into a jack, like terminology. And I guess it'll start when I'm saying this out loud, because if we start in those small groups in that sense, hopefully in 10 years, it trickles and there's movement. Yeah. Same way ballet's been set up, but it's just going to be constant work, and we're just in the beginning of it.
Right. Oh, I love that you do that. I had, before pandemic, I was talking to a local art dancer who is also a DJ, and I was having him put together a little piece that was going to be performed this year at the DanceFest, basically just kind of breaking down some styles so that people can identify as like, oh, I know what that is, because people love the Dance Fest. They are inspired by it. Most of the people that come back year after year, they come because they don't want to see World of Dance. No, disrespect to all the
Yeah.
they want to see what they are blown away by the fact that there are dance companies that are taking this and making works of art out of it. But at the same time, who am I to really expect that they can differentiate the styles? And if one person comes out and does a popping choreography piece to a esoteric song, is it going to make them, which most of them don't, but some of them got confused and was like, oh, that's contemporary dance. And sadly, it wasn't contemporary dance. So I love all the history that you're doing. I'm inspired. I need to learn from you how to do that.
It's a constant journey. Yeah. It's still a constant journey. I mean, we're always talking with Rennie and Buddha Stretch and taking classes and having conversations because our pioneers and legends are still alive. We've got to take advantage of that. Yeah. We're going to get to a point in 20, 30 years, they're not. And who knows with us too, at this point, life is so precious, but their resources are there. We just choose not to take the route of research and really going in depth of it, and we need to take advantage of that.
Yeah, I agree. And I think also too, it's important where Jackie and I's generation, we like to consider ourselves the bridge from our elders, our mentors, the ones who are pioneered and created it. And the next generation, the ones that are learning, like we are that bridge because a lot of our pioneers, they're not teaching on Zoom or they don't have the patience to like, all right, class of 40, let's go with, beginners. Like, they should all be making thousands of dollars just teaching master workshops, right? But I feel like Jackie and I, we're playing that position of being the bridge. So we have to keep their names relevant to the next generation. And if we don't, then therefore, yes, it is just going to start trickling. It's going to get lost in translation. And then therefore, the legacy and the history of our culture and our dance will just be lost. It'll be forgotten. So we're taking on that responsibility. And we have to hold ourselves accountable for that. And I'm hoping many people can think the same way because we have an important role right now in terms of our generation to be that bridge.
And you too are doing it. The Dance Fest performance you had where you took us through some of the history of dance, like you used the film of people doing, that was so, I've been in love with hip hop music and dance since I was little. And, just coming up through it, it's just in my blood, right? But that doesn't mean that I know the history or know all of the terminology. And so when you see someone in this like black and white film back in 1930 something, or, doing a dance that you see people doing in videos, in the club, whatever, you're just like, oh my gosh, it hits you and you realize how deep it is. And it's even deeper than that, right? It just goes back and back and back and back. So that is just so, fulfills me that you two are doing this work. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
I remember that made everybody happy. In the Dance Fest, the audience, there's no person in the audience, young, old, male, female, that didn't love that performance. Actually, love all your performances. I remember that first one, the Papa Pericana. That was very and it's like there's something so relatable, so authentic about your performances. And then you two of you and your dancers are always like the best of the best. And so my friend who was sitting with me said, watching them makes me happy to be alive. That is the best thing I've ever heard because that's how we feel.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. Yeah.
Yes.
Our goal is always it's a famous Rennie Harris quote, but it's to inspire at least one person. If we inspire one person, we did our job. Because you don't never know, especially in these times, of course, of quarantine and the pandemic, people the mental state is, many people are not okay. It's
real. Yeah.
And if we could uplift one person to making some bad decisions or just having a better day, what better way than to inspire someone, at least one. And that's true, that goes deep when Rennie shared that with me, because I was just that one girl. Before Rennie came to teach at UCLA, I saw his performance at UCLA facing Mecca, and it changed my life instantly. Before that, I was mad involved in the industry and auditioning, trying to go to school, figuring it out. And I see his show, and I always like to share the story. I see Facing Mecca, and it opens with 4 Black women, and one of them was a full-figured woman. I was like, wait, what? I could do this? I could do hip hop on stage? My life changed instantly. Like, and that's what we need to do, is like be reflections of everything that's possible. And Rennie inspired that one girl, which was me 16, 17 years ago. And here I just got so lucky. I got to meet this incredible man. And together we created a movement. And that story is true. If we inspire one, you just never know who you might hit and inspire and move in deep ways. So,
whoo, I got so many chills. I have goosebumps. Oh my gosh. You know, I see this in, you know, my kids. I have a 7-year-old and a 3-year-old. The 7-year-old, she's like dancing. The 3-year-old, she's killing it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to get her on a Zoom dance class because she's just like getting it. And so, you know, we're talking about DanceFest, and we're telling you how VersaStyle makes us feel. Tell us about some of your memories from DanceFest, you know, backstage, on stage, driving up here. What, you know, give us some good ones.
You know, I think, yeah, and it'll be relative to the always an experience on the festival stage. That's a huge stage. That stage is huge. And when we first got there, we did our chair piece, and we plopped chairs as our props. But when we realized how many crossovers and changes, and then just dancing across the stage, I think 3 of us had like asthma attacks, and I'm not saying asthma, but we thought we were gonna pass out on the couch next to the pizza and all the drinks. And I was just like, I'm hearing my guys tell me, yo, so-and-so's passing out. I was like, yo, I'm passing out too, man. Like, I can't. And then it's funny is that when we bring our new dancers and our upcoming dancers, when they first see the stage, they're just like,
it's huge.
I was like, yeah, get ready, y'all. It's about to go down. You know, but I think it's always that experience where I just love the stage, because that stage just pushes the human limits when you put your piece on that stage. But what we receive from the audience has always been just mind-blowing for all of us. I remember after, especially the chair piece, and especially Legacy, the piece that you just talked about, the way the crowd just roared, it gave us all chills. And I feel like that's why we feel, you know, San Francisco Hip Hop Dance Festival is another home for us, because we just feel so welcome there. You know what I mean? And then again, and I know she could talk, I love building with all the groups that Micaiah brings from around the world. I've still to this day connect with some of the people via online, and it's amazing for me, because it's like we built friendships by just saying, hi, how you doing? Yo, that piece was dope. Your piece was dope, man. And then we start sessioning in the lobby after the show, and then we're just, it's honestly, it's like a big unity gathering that weekend, you know, that Micaiah throws, and along with her team, you know. So for me, those are the moments that I hold on to. The drives going up, the drives coming down, because it makes my company and I get closer together. We share stories, conversations. So I have so many great memories from the Dance Fest, and I'm really hoping quarantine lifts up, because I'd like to go back and continue these memories, you know. So
yeah, no, I mean, you almost said it all. But I think I could share one moment. What I love is the diversity in the audience too.
Yeah.
Like, it's clear there's such diversity. And I think that's an influence based on the diversity of what you bring from the performers as well. But I have a vivid memory of a little white lady, believe it or not, who came up to me, and she was like, girl, you could dance. Like, I think she was just surprised. And I think most of the time, 9 times out of 10, that's, I think, the reaction for most people. I think they unfortunately have their stereotypes of what even a dancer needs to look like. So I'm always trying to break those boundaries, and I go above and beyond. And I recall the ladies like, girl, you could dance. And there was one piece that we brought to your festival called Barrio Mundial, where we did like the touching of our chest. And I'm like, yeah, like, did you enjoy it? She's like, I just love this. Oh, when you do that, I just felt like we were all with you. And I'm like, oh, and I just love that this person caught on a movement, a gesture that speaks so close to us. And she was just, and I'm like, oh, thank you so much. She's like, and she left, she walked away, just saying bye to me this way. And I'm like, okay, we did our job. Like that moment was fulfilling for me as an artist, that I keep opening people's mindset of what they think dance is and who should be dancing. And walk away with moments like that. And that part for us means everything. Like, it's the heart, it's the spirit, it's like God within us. You know, there's so many meanings they could take on with that dance. And so it's beautiful. That's a moment I thought I'd share because I love it.
Oh man, how many times have you come? Because
it's got to be over 5 times.
4 or 5 times. Yeah. At least 4 or 5 times. Yeah, because you've done the guys piece too. That was epic.
That was epic. And you come back, because every time you come, I want to treat you better. That's my goal in life. And I know the first time you came, you were like, the pizza, because that's all I could afford was pizza every night. I remember that. It was like, pizza again. You can afford, like, Chinese food or burritos or spaghetti, and like it's my goal to try every year to treat the dancers like the professional superstar beautiful artists that you are. So I still don't feel like I've even come close to being able to do that with you guys.
Well, let me just say this, Makai. Jackie and I, we've toured a lot, and I would say, hands down, you are one of our favorite and I think best presenters in the game. So honestly, I tip my hat off to you. I give you my love and the respect, because the way you've treated us and the way I see you treat the other groups and companies from around the world, I wish all presenters in every theater did that, So I just had to stop you right there, because you've always treated us great, and I'm very thankful for that.
And I mean, what's amazing, not to correct you in any way, I don't see Makai so much as a presenter, because usually presenters are very specific to the theater.
Yeah.
To know that you do this out of your own love and you want to produce something. I mean, that theater should book you as a presenter, I feel. I don't know what they've been doing, but to know that I think I said that the last time we were there, right? I got the mic and I gave you props, because first, as a woman, it's not easy. For you to navigate these conversations with all the people that think they're in charge, they have a hard time seeing women just like, step up and do their thing. But that you produce this, that's no joke. I'm humbled, because we have our festival in Los Angeles, which you have to come out to our festival now. Yeah. And you were a major inspiration as well as Ladies of Hip Hop in New York, where you guys have this performance component that our festival was missing. We were so focused in the battles and everything. And the third day of our festival now is dedicated to like performances, dance theater performances. And it's just so fulfilling. And those moments I think of you, I'm like, God, I should have invited Micaiah. She needs to be here. And that was my goal this year. It just didn't happen because of quarantine. Yeah. But you inspire folks with different innovative ideas. And I see that. And I'm like, I want to present more. If we're talking about how there's not enough opportunity, well, if we're capable of providing an opportunity, why not go there where we could really keep elevating hip hop choreographers and dancers, And I can't wait for all this to lift, because we're going to go to your festival and you're going to come to ours. So you could see how that's been a major influence for us as well. And I wanted to add that component of performance because it feels so celebratory. Like it's a celebration of everyone, no matter what, So I thought I'd add that in because much props to you. Being a producer is not easy.
Thank you so much.
Not easy.
Yeah, thank you. Absolutely. I've always wanted to come back down to your festival. The thing about how it happened for me was so organically that everything that started with me and the DanceFest has been like from scratch. I didn't really have a lot to look at and go, oh, they have a hip hop dance festival. Let me do it like them. Nobody had.
Mm-hmm.
People have since then, but the only things that had happened really were competitions and battles and things like that. So me coming from not as a presenter or promoter or director or producer in any way. I was a dance teacher, a single mom, and a choreographer that just was inspired. And every little step of the way I've learned. And because I think I don't have any model to base myself on, what I'm doing is just creating as I go and learning. And I've made a lot of mistakes, as you always do. And that's how it is what it is today.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is. It's a Micaiah, just you see what, you know, in every interview we do, how people talk about DanceFest and just the people who are around you and the things that are coming from the work that you've put into this. And I mean, the two of you have, you know, said this too, how like it's this, for me, it's a family reunion every year. So I'm really bummed that, you know, there's not going to be this big gathering this year, but you start like, oh, I'm probably going to see this person or that person, or like you were saying, you know, you reunite maybe with people who you've met in last DanceFest, or you meet new people. It's just, it is a place of love and support and, you know, coming together. And that's what you made it, Micaiah. That's, I mean, like you do not allow anything else. It's like, this is the energy of this weekend. You cannot come here and hate.
I love what it is now. You're right. It is. I love that makes me smile to hear everything you're saying, because everything that you're saying are the things that I want to attract. And at this point, the Dance Fest is not me anymore. It's its own thing. I don't really, it's like I feel honored to be part of it, but it's just this thing that's taken flight, and I'm honored to be, you know, part of it, to try to continue to support it wholeheartedly. And, you know, when I see like this, these angels that just come and testify, all I can just say is just like, wow, much props to the festival.
Oh, well, you made it happen. And I think that's beautiful to hear. I think many people, there's a lot of founders out there that have like a founder syndrome type of thing. And to hear you say that you created something that you're not even a part of, that's just your legacy, period. And that's how people need to create. They need to create establishments where it's not a personal attachment, but versus how is it of service to the world, you know? And I think that's how things thrive and grow. And I hope that's how we grow our mission. Yeah. Though we're the founders, I wanted to have it set up where it runs without us at that point. And that's the goal. Because then that's the true essence of what's needed in the community at the moment, you know? So much props, Micaiah. This is good. This is why quarantine's happening, because we don't get to celebrate you enough, you know? So these are times we get to slow down and have these conversations as well.
This quarantine has made me want to just come and visit people like you, just even, you know, during your festival, or, you know, you're just in LA, so it's not like I can't just swing down and hang out. So it's on my bucket list of post-quarantine things that I want to do, people I want to hang out with. We have had the best episode. I'm full of joy, love. I'm just vibrating right now. I want to thank you, Ms. Funk Jackie and Breezelee, Brandy. You guys have really filled my heart. It's been a good episode. Next week, we got Rama as our guest. I'm pretty sure. I'm excited about that. What's the details for the festival again, Miss Brandy?
Okay, November 21st, Saturday at noon, online, sfhiphopdancefest.com. You can get your tickets there. It's going to be lit.
Slide and scale. I'm a sliding scale right now. Ready? Everybody, let's go. Ready? We're gonna all slide and scale. Ready? Go. Ready. Slide and scale. Thank you, everybody. Thanks to both of you.
Thank you so much.
I'll see you next time. Love and